Pinwheels, pinwheels, pinwheels.
Seriously? I called that a pinwheel? It's a starburst, you fool! Anyway, moving right along.
Wheels. How do you make them? Well, that's what we're talking about today on this HitFilm quick tip. Making pinwheels in HitFilm is a really easy process. All it takes is a composite shot and a couple layers. So let's go. First off, right click over here. I'm going to make a new composite shot. I'm going to call this my pinwheel and leave the default settings on the way they are. My comp's only 5 seconds long, but that can be as long or as short as you want your pinwheel to be, assuming you're going to animate it. Once it's built, jump down here, make a new plane layer, actually 2 plane layers. These are going to be the colors of the stripes in your pinwheel. So my first one here, simple example here, I'm going to use black and white for my layers. So black layer there, a white layer there. And now I simply take and decide how wide I want each of the stripes to be in my pinwheel. I can determine it here, or I can do it after the fact. Doesn't make a difference. I'll make this about half and half to keep things pretty simple for starters. So next up, on top of that, make a new grade layer. And this is where all the magic happens with a single effect, the polar warp. Drag that onto your grade layer. And now you see what it's done is it's taken that rectangular shape of our comp and wrapped it into a complete circle. I could still take my planes down here, as a matter of fact, and decide how much or little of each color is appearing in that kind of circle-formed version of our comp. So I'll leave it about halfway, kind of like I had it before, and move on to the next step, opening the contents of the polar warp effect and looking at some of the properties. So first off, we want a lot of repetitions of our black and white stripes here, not just the 2 that we see right now. So we need to take and do a couple things. First off, on the range property up here, I'm going to drop that down so it's only spreading this out over a small, narrower band. And then to repeat that band, go down to Wrap X and choose Tile. And that repeats that band numerous times over that entire circle. So now we've actually got a pretty basic starburst set up here. If I want to use the circle version I've got here, I can save it out and use it as is, or I can continue on and make a little more elaborate version. So if I don't want it to be a wrapped kind of contained circle like that and actually take up the entire space in my comp, I do a couple more things. First off, increase the end radius. Right now it's at 512, meaning 512 pixels from the center to the outside edge. I can crank this up, but the highest it'll go is 1024, meaning I can't quite get it all the way past the edge of my comp. To fix that, I go down to the Wrap Y property, open this up, and choose Reflect. And now that reflective version goes all the way out past the ends, and I've got a full screen starburst pretty easily done. And again, I can still play with the properties. I go down here to my plane colors. I can slide these back and forth, make them fatter or thinner as far as the bands. Pretty easy to do there. Make this maybe a little bit more on the white side in this example here. And then once I'm done, an even easier thing to do is to have this thing spin. All I have to do is keyframe your rotation property. Activate keyframes for that on frame 0. Let's say I'm going to go to my 5-second end here and have it go a full 360, and we'll see how that looks. So we'll crank through there. That's actually a pretty fast one, so maybe not a full 360. Drop that down to maybe 180 instead and have that back down to 0 times. So do simple play test there. So there we have a very basic pinwheel in HitFilm. Totally procedural, very easy to drop it into other comps or my editor timeline and use it however I want. Thanks for watching this HitFilm quick tip. If you want to see more, please subscribe. And until next time, clever tagline.